Providence, Rhode Island is known as an intellectual and historic colonial era city in New England. The city has a unique vibe, a diverse population, and several intriguing neighborhoods. So what are the best places to see and things to do in Providence?
Hey everyone, so where we are today is beautiful and historic Providence, Rhode Island. So Providence is best known as the home of Brown University, but it is an incredibly historic city and it is one of the oldest cities in America, right? So it's a medium-sized city and it's often overlooked to its more famous neighbor about an hour to the north, Boston. But Providence has so much to offer and has one of the largest historic districts in the United States. So what we're going to do on this tour is we are going to go throughout the city and I'm going to show you the best things that you should do while you're here in Providence. Now, the first thing you want to do is check out the Rhode Island State House. So that's that big building behind us, and it is one of the most interesting state houses in the United States. And unfortunately, we're here on a Saturday, so we cannot go in. But if you come here Monday through Friday during regular business hours, you can actually take a self-guided tour within the State House. And it's very beautiful, and there's a lot of interesting history in there and stuff to learn about Rhode Island.
The Rhode Island State House was completed in 1901 and is an architectural masterpiece. It is the governmental center of Providence in the state of Rhode Island. On the top of the dome sits a 500-pound and 11-foot-tall statue known as Independent Man. This statue represents the establishment of the colony of Rhode Island several centuries ago. The State House was one of the first public buildings to utilize electricity and is now illuminated by impressive floodlights at night.
Okay, the next place you want to check out is Waterplace Park. That's where I am now. So it's about a 5-minute walk from the Rhode Island State House. So it's real close, and it looks like, just a normal waterfront park. So what's so special about this? So we're here in April, but if you come on summer evenings, see these little balls in the water here? These light up with fire. So it's basically a huge presentation. It's called Waterfire. So if you come here on a summer evening, Google it, Waterfire, check out the dates and the times, and it's just a big presentation. People from all over come, and it's just something really to see. And it's basically huge flames of fire come out, and it's all along the water. It's really cool and something to see. But on the days when they're not having Waterfire, it's kind of just a cool place to go to kind of get out of the city and to kind of walk along the river and just peruse and look around. And most of it is below street level, so it's kind of like a nice little promenade. So definitely check that out when you're here.
Waterplace Park was completed in 1994 and is the terminus of the Riverwalk, which we will see later. The park features beautiful Venice-like bridges crossing the river and is the home of the famous Summer Night Waterfire Festival. Definitely check that out if you're in Providence during the summer months.
Now we are leaving basically the downtown area. So the downtown area has a lot of mid-rise skyscrapers, like a lot of American cities. And where we're going now is the most historic part of Providence, which is called College Hill. So as you see around me, there's a lot of historic structures, right? One thing to keep in mind is it's very hilly. So keep that in mind if you're walking around. It's a very walkable, compact city, but there are a lot of hills. For literally centuries now, Providence has earned a reputation as a place and a city of higher learning. So the big famous school here is Brown, right? But the other one is RISD, so Rhode Island School of Design, that stands for. And that is one of the premier art and architecture schools in the United States. And one cool thing that they have here is a museum of art. So it's called the RISD Museum of Art. Now I'm gonna take a look in there and take a look at what they have. And I highly encourage you to check this out if you're interested in art and architecture when you're here in Providence.
The RISD Museum was founded in 1877 as part of the inception of the Rhode Island School of Design. The museum is the 20th largest art museum in the United States and features several iconic works from various timepieces. The RISD Museum is often lauded as one of the best art and artifacts museums in New England, as the collections contain work from some of the most famous artists in art history. Walk through the museum and immerse yourself in the beauty that is the human creative mind. Travel back in time to the Roman, Greek, Egyptian, medieval, colonial, and Victorian ages, or marvel at the beauty of the extensive modern art collection. You can spend at least a half day perusing the interesting collections that are on exhibit in this surprisingly extensive and world-class museum of art.
Okay, the next place you want to check out when you're in Providence is the Providence Athenaeum, which is right behind me. So in a time before there was internet, encyclopedias, just an ease of information, right? All information was housed in books and in libraries. So in a time when books were incredibly expensive to make and to purchase, people in an area, specifically intellectuals, created libraries. And this library was built originally as a subscription library. So what does that mean? So you know how you do Netflix now? So you pay a little subscription and you get content, right? This, you paid a little subscription and you get access to thousands of books. And what's so special about the Providence Athenaeum is that it has some very rare and interesting collections of books, artifacts, maps, and it is the home of one of the most interesting and large collections of colonial books here in Providence.
The Providence Athenaeum is a library open to the public to view their extensive and historic collection of books. The library has been in existence since the mid-18th century and was founded by colonial-era intellectuals seeking knowledge in Providence. The library is extremely unique and is an inspiring place to quench your thirst for knowledge. The library is particularly known for having a sizable colonial-era collection of books, maps, and manuscripts. College Hill is the general name of the old city center of Providence. This area features the oldest buildings, narrowest streets, and most impressive architecture. It is the home of one of the largest historic districts in the United States, with several pre-19th century buildings.
The next thing you have to see when you're here in Providence is Brown University. So Brown University is probably the most famous site here in Providence, and it's an institution of higher learning, and it's in the Ivy League, and it is one of the oldest universities in America, and it has actually one of the lowest acceptance rates in the country. So the campus is beautiful, it's historic, and the university has a real extensive and interesting history. So you definitely have to come here, walk around, it has a young vibe because it's college students, right? And just explore the whole area, go through the quad, and there's actually museums littered throughout the campus. So definitely check those out when you're here.
What is today Brown University was founded in 1764 as college in the English colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations. But that was a mouthful. In 1804, it was renamed as Brown University to honor its largest endowment contributor, John Brown. Later, we will see him and his family's mansion. The university has a long history of intellectual achievement and has produced several Nobel Peace Prize winners. Additionally, it is one of the most competitive universities in the United States with a 5% acceptance rate of new applicants, which rings true to its Ivy League status. The university is the largest private landowner in Providence, and the student population makes up a decent percentage of the city's population.
Now, when you're walking around Brown's campus, you're going to notice very historical buildings littered within very modern buildings because, it is a functioning university with students. So it also has like really modern residence halls between the old. So it's pretty cool. You can see the old and the new. Now, when you venture off campus and you're in the surrounding area, you just have to go a couple blocks and you're in old Providence again. So you can see there's tons of historic homes. I mean, it is one of the largest historic districts in the United States. So if you're interested in architecture and historical architecture, this is a great place to visit. Okay, the next place I recommend you go is the John Brown House, which is behind us. So John Brown, hence the name, is one of the early founders of Brown University and a very prominent person here in Providence. So we're going to take a look at his house and kind of learn a little bit about the history of the family here in Providence and kind of see how the other half lived all those years ago. So let's head in.
The John Brown House is the oldest mansion built in Providence, completed in 1788, and is the home of the university's largest benefactor, John Brown. In the museum, you can see John Brown's actual carriage, one of the oldest known in existence, and peruse the grand mansion that Brown and his family lived in. The mansion was in the Brown family for several generations before it was donated as a museum in the 1940s. The museum restored the home to its original decor, and most of the furniture pieces are original from the colonial era. You can peruse the mansion and get an idea of how the wealthy lived in the 18th century by wandering through the attractive and ornate rooms. This is the master suite, and notice the ensuite bathroom. Though not in the original design because indoor plumbing did not exist yet, this add-on gives you an idea of what an early bathroom in a wealthy household would look like.
The next place you want to check out is Wickenden Street, and that's where we are now. So Wickenden Street is a main commercial corridor just south of Brown University. So it kind of gets a crowd of college students, right? So it's a younger vibe, but you have lots of restaurants, lots of stores, coffee shops, some bars, things of that nature, right? So it's got a real quirky vibe, and it's between these old historic buildings. So definitely check that out when you're here.
Wickenden Street is a popular commercial strip known to attract the area's university students. The street is named after a British minister, William Wickenden, who owned a farm on the site of what is now the commercial corridor. Interestingly, the street was the home of an early Portuguese community, and this is evident in the many pastel-colored buildings on the street. This is the place you come if you are looking for quirky shops, eclectic restaurants, and nightlife.
The next thing you want to check out is Providence Riverwalk Park, which is where we are now, and the Leaston Memorial Pedestrian Bridge. So the pedestrian bridge is right over there. We're going to go over it, and it's a bridge that's only open to pedestrians, obviously, and it affords you amazing views of the river and downtown Providence. Now, this river walk continues along as a park right from Wickenden Street, where we just were, and it goes down underneath downtown Providence. So it kind of slithers this way underneath the downtown section, and then it opens up to Waterplace Park, which we saw earlier, the place with Waterfire. So definitely check this out when you're here, guys.
Providence Riverwalk is a beautiful and modern urban park that winds along the Providence River up through downtown Providence. The Riverwalk offers beautiful views of the downtown skyline and the river. One of the most notable destinations is the modern and attractive pedestrian bridge. Here you can find Providence residents and visitors sunbathing, hanging out, relaxing, and playing over an attractive vista. The Riverwalk eventually ends at Waterplace Park near the Rhode Island State House, where we visited earlier in the tour. The next place you have to see is downtown Providence. This old city downtown area has traditionally been a place of employment for Providence residents, and that is evident in the large and grandiose office buildings throughout the district. The buildings display beautiful architectural detail, and most are from the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The downtown area is experiencing a resurgence in recent decades as more people are moving into urban areas, creating lofts and establishing creative and booming commercial strips throughout the district.
So where we are now is historic Federal Hill, also known as Providence's Little Italy. So the main commercial corridor in Federal Hill is Atwell's Avenue, which we are on now. And see this arch here? This is called La Pina Arch. So it's a welcoming sign in Italian culture. So as you go along here, you'll find tons of Italian restaurants, and it's a historic neighborhood, so there's tons of historic architecture as well. This is a great place to come out to eat, and we're gonna kind of go through here, learn a little bit about the history, and go into one of the main squares. So let's head in.
Federal Hill is a historic neighborhood in Providence just west of the downtown area. The area experienced a population boom in the late 1800s and early 1900s when Irish immigrants dominated the neighborhood. Soon after, Italian immigrants moved to the area and replaced most of the Irish immigrants who emigrated a couple decades earlier. The neighborhood is one of the best, largest, and most authentic Little Italies in the United States. It is a popular dining and nightlife place for locals, people who used to live in the neighborhood, and visitors alike. Definitely have at least one meal in Federal Hill when visiting Providence.
Now, one place in particular that you have to check out when you're here in Federal Hill is the Pascual Square. Now, that's where I am now. So it doesn't look like much now because it's very early. It's Saturday at like 4 o'clock p.m. But in a couple hours, this is gonna be bumping. There is a ton of outdoor dining. There's people hanging out, people drinking, people eating. So I definitely recommend coming here if you want to drink a little bit and have kind of a cool outdoor nightlife experience.
The Pascual Square, located just off Atwell's Avenue, is considered the heart of the neighborhood. Here you can eat outside, people watch, and have a drink over live music.
Okay guys, now this concludes our tour of Providence. So I had an amazing time showing it. As you can see, the city has so much history, so much culture, so much things to see and do. And it goes from a college vibe to a normal neighborhood vibe to a downtown artsy vibe. It has a lot to offer, so I definitely recommend taking a look at Providence and really follow this itinerary, because this was all done in a very geographically efficient way. Listen guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like this video, share this video, leave me your comment below, leave me your tips on what to do here in Providence, if there's anything that I missed. We're building a community. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so. Okay guys, until next time, take care.